هاي ودي كيفك؟
هاي
صباح؟
كيفكم انتو؟ All is well?
منيح منيح. أنا مرقت عن شغلي مش هيك عم رح شيل الكاميرا رح أتسمع عليكم. أوكي نحن we are still on for 6 no?
Tomorrow, yes.
Tomorrow yes. Okay. You doing
Yeah.
good?
We're
okay?
going live now. Okay, we are live على LinkedIn
And YouTube.
and we'll spend 5 minutes بس هيك waiting for people to come.
هاي ودي كيفك؟
Okay. Hi.
صباح؟
Hi Jean. كيفكم انتو؟ Wait.
منيح منيح.
I'm rebroadcasting
مرقت
from
عن
YouTube.
شغلي مش هيك عم
Okay. Yeah, I'll just wait a couple of minutes.
Okay, so I will be waiting for the presentation to start. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay, man.
Hi, Jean. Hope all is well. Okay, I can see you in the chat. You're telling me all is okay. Great. We have 25 registered. Hopefully, they will join us. Maybe the more we go into the summer, the more people start being busy this time.
Yeah, from the accelerator, there's a workshop with 100 people, so happening right now. I think a lot of the people who are going through the program who said that they wanted to attend maybe didn't realize that they have a conflict. We're talking to them about fundraising and developing business models. And
what time does it finish?
In 3 hours.
Oh, probably coordinated this, no problem.
Exactly, we could have coordinated this better. Apologies for that.
No problem. Yeah. Anyway, one more and then we'll start. Hi, George. Hope all is well today.
Alhamdulillah, all is well. Thanks. Good luck. So, thanks.
ماشي الحال.
ماشي.
Great to see you always.
Yeah, thanks. I'll mute. I'm on a parallel call, but I'll finish it inshallah shortly and I'll join. Thanks.
Okay, and let's start. Okay. Thank you for the attendees and thank you for another session today about digital transformation. Today's topic is MIT Lebanon Challenge. So we'll try to find out what's happening. How does this relate to the digital economy and digital transformation? Does it actually relate or it doesn't? What Jad is actually doing, what he did so far, and how did this whole concept comes in. And I'll start a small brief about my esteemed speaker today, Jad Ojjeh. and Jad is the executive director and actually the founder of MIT Lebanon. So Jad, I'll leave you to introduce yourself, and then we'll go on from there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rudy. Hi, everyone. I'm Jad Ojjeh. I was born and raised in Lebanon, and I spent the first 21 years of my life over there. I did my undergraduate at AUB. I then moved to the Netherlands, dabbled a little bit in supply chain management, moved to Dubai, worked in consulting. And a few years ago, 2 years ago, I moved to Boston to start my MBA at MIT Sloan School of Management. And while I was here, I focused on entrepreneurship, and with a classmate of mine, co-launched a startup called Ocular Technologies. And I have since left the startup and still figuring out what's coming up for me in life. But for now, I've decided to work on the MIT Lebanon Challenge full-time, and I'm sure we'll spend a lot of time talking about that. So yeah, this is me. Thank you, Rudy.
Thank you, Jad. Leon, how can this idea, how did it actually come out? What was the background of it?
Right. So I think the background to the MIT Lebanon Challenge is actually two stories happening in parallel. One day I get a call from a good friend of mine called Taj Nami, who gives me a call and says, he's a computer scientist, and he calls and says, Jad, we've been working on ourselves for the last 25, 30 years. We've developed skill sets. We're spending our time and energy solving problems for companies internationally. There are a lot of problems to solve at home. Why don't we try to apply ourselves on the side and try to do something for Lebanon? So that was happening in one hand side. And we were thinking about a fintech solution to address some of the money issues in Lebanon right now. And we started dabbling in that area. While that was going on, a classmate of mine at MIT was putting together the MIT COVID Challenge, which were 3 or 4 hackathons that took place, each with 1,500 participants from around the world. And they were focusing on developing solutions for COVID. And I attended one of those, and what I found was that, me and my friend, we have some skills, but we're 2 people with very limited time. There are so many other Lebanese people around the world who have skill sets that exceed ours, who have time and are committed to working for Lebanon and making Lebanon a better place. And we kind of put 2 and 2 together and decided, rather than trying to solve a problem ourselves, let us organize everyone around these problems. We followed the format that the MIT COVID Challenge took, and we replicated it for the MIT Lebanon Challenge. And 4 weeks later, we kicked off the event. And that's the background. That's how it happened.
So 2 people getting together, brainstorming an idea, and then we're 51 organizing. How is that possible? And then basically nobody knows.
Yeah. So 2 people getting together, as you said, we were thinking about a digital wallet solution. And I was on a call with Taj. I'm like, Taj, this is a great idea. I don't think I'm the right person to take this forward, but I want to do this instead. I want to organize people around this topic. Do you want to continue working on this, or do you want to help me out? And he said, I'll help you out for now. And so this was a Monday. I take out my laptop, I draft a 1-page Word document, I export it to PDF, and I sign it. And it's, dear friends, my name is Jad, and I want to do this. And I think this is important because of these reasons. And I send it to maybe 40 people. And I said, as part of the ask is circulate. If you're interested, or someone who might be interested, circulate it. I tried to reach people in the Lebanese clubs in the different schools in the US and Europe. I tried to reach friends that I know that are in Lebanon and have free time right now because of unfortunate circumstances. And I gave them the link to a form and said, this is going to be a lot of work. It's going to be at least 15 hours a week. If you're interested in signing up, join us. And this was Monday. By Thursday, I had something like 60 people who have committed 10 plus hours a week each. I knew about 30 out of those 60. And this is like, I knew the most, obviously. Other people at most knew 2 or 3 people out of the 60. And so Friday, we hopped on a Zoom call with people from San Francisco all the way to Dubai and every country in between. We had people from Germany, from Palestine, obviously from Lebanon, from the UK, from many cities in the US. And we kicked it off. The reality is none of us have done this before. A few of us have participated in hackathons before, but we had access to friends at MIT who have done this before and where they were very generous in supporting us. So 51 people got together. We started getting like even more volunteers, but I had to draw the line and say, guys, at this point, managing a team of more than 50 people is going to take more effort than actually putting together the hackathon. So we need to draw the line here. And eventually the team shrunk to about 30 people who were very committed, very hardworking. And yeah, we about 15 of us are still working on a version of that with the accelerator right now.
We'll talk about the accelerator just later on. And then from there, you jumped, and then what was the role of actually MIT, and how did it see that challenge, and how was things were taken from the MIT to support all of this?
So it's important to recognize that MIT is a lot of different divisions and departments. So we've partnered with a lot of the different departments at MIT and institutions at MIT to support with this effort. So one major supporter in this is the Martin Trust Center for MIT Entrepreneurship. And what they've done is essentially, this is the entrepreneurship center at MIT, essentially. They organize the Delta V, which is the MIT Accelerator program. And they host a lot of the entrepreneurship classes at the school. And so they were very quick to partner with us early on. So they supported with access to a playbook of how to organize a hackathon. They supported us with the technology side, setting up the Zoom webinar that can host 1,000 people, setting up the different, helping us set up Slack and all the technology required to support this infrastructure, as well as sharing with us access to their mentors, promoting the event, and many other activities on a day-to-day basis. We also partnered with the Legatum Center for Economic Development at MIT and a number of others. And they mostly supported, again, with access to mentors, with spreading the word out, and with bringing a lot of credibility to the event. This would not have been possible without the credibility and the support that came from our partnerships with the different parts of the Institute.
Exactly. And it's an excellent initiative. And then it's open, and then it's public, and then you have 600 plus applications.
Yeah. So a lot happened between a lot happened between Friday and so the Friday when we got together and we decided, okay, 51 people, let us do this. And then 5 weeks later, again on a Friday, kicking off the event. So we broke down the team into 7 smaller teams, and we had work stream leads for each. And we had a team working on partnerships, developing what the partnership structure looks like. And the partners played a huge role for us because we would not have been able to create an event this size and get the reach that we got without our 65 partners. So the role that they played is, one of the largest, many of them played different roles, but one of the largest roles that they played is promoting the event. Rather than having to speak to everyone, we had 60 institutes and corporations and NGOs that already have an audience in the thousands and for each of them, and they all shared the story. And that's what allowed it to go viral. That's what allowed us to have this wide reach from day one. We had a different team working with mentors and judges. So we had about 5 or 6 people. Their whole job was to identify mentors, source them, kind of screen for quality, and bring them on board, get them up to speed, explain to them how they can help, and 2 or 3 people just working on judges. We had a separate team working on managing the participants. Like, what does the participant journey look like? How does a participant hear about us? How do they apply? How do we screen them? How do we select them? And then this is all before the event, but also during the event. And so, as well as marketing, as well as a team thinking about what the post-hackathon experience, and a team looking on the operations and technology of the event. How do you orchestrate 120 mentors, 600 participants, 50 organizers, 50 partners, and about 25 judges smoothly so that people know where they need to be and how they need to go and how things happen? Because this all happened over Zoom and Slack. And so it required a lot of coordination to take place. So as you said, we actually received, the application was open for 10 days. And during those 10 days, we received 1,200 applicants. And in the 13th day, we received close to 150 emails for people saying the application closed, but I still want to apply. What can I do? And from a capacity constraint, we had to limit the numbers of people that we accepted to 600. And yeah, we accepted 750, and then around 600 showed up. So that's kind of the journey. But our marketing team worked extremely hard to create, a lot of very cool messaging that we kept on pushing out on the importance of this and who can be a part of this. And those were pushed out through our partners, and that's how we managed to attract the attention and create the awareness very quickly.
So how do you evaluate the first part of the challenge? Because we have now, if you want to explain the full parts, and then let's focus on the first part, and then we'll go on later on. Sure.
So the Lebanon Challenge started as the idea behind it is a hackathon. And for those in the audience maybe who are not fully aware, but hackathons can take different flavors. Some of them are focused on coding and development. Others are focused on more interdisciplinary approach to problem solving. And our hackathon was more the second. So the thinking behind it is there are a lot of problems in Lebanon, and there are a lot of problems everywhere. And often a good solution to a problem requires people from different backgrounds to think about the problem from different lenses and come up with a holistic approach to a solution. And the thinking was, let us try to identify some of the pressing problems that the country is facing. And I'm talking, specific problems, not macro problems on the geopolitical landscape or anything like that. We're talking about things like water. The water infrastructure is maybe a few years old, and maintenance is approaching, and there's some issues around that. How do we address this specific issue? Or farmers don't know, don't have a lot of data about the weather and the soil characteristics, so they cannot optimize their output. How can we solve this specific problem? So the first part of the Lebanon Challenge was first to identify some of these pressing problems, and then bring together 600 people. The planned mix was 60 people in Lebanon, 60% in Lebanon, 40% outside of Lebanon, a mix of designers, engineers, business people, lawyers, writers, people from very different backgrounds who can bring in different perspectives and put them together to form groups around problems that they are passionate about and support them over the course of the weekend so they can come up with tangible, short-term solutions to these problems, things that they can implement in a matter of months with very limited funding. That was the guidance that we gave them. And so this was the weekend. This was the hackathon. It started on Friday. It ended on Sunday. The teams formed. They worked for 2 days. They had access to mentors, and then they pitched in front of judges, and they got feedback from the judges. How do we evaluate that? I think that's a very hard question. There's always, there is impact that this kind of work does on different levels. And I think the first most direct impact is on the individuals themselves who participated. And a lot of these people are in Lebanon, in their 20s, have not been engaged in a productive way because of the current environment in a while. A lot of them have sent me messages along the lines of, I've been sitting at home for a while. I haven't been doing anything really, and it's not their fault. I'm not trying to blame them. It's just the environment has very little to offer them right now. And what we offered them is an opportunity to work on something that is beneficial, to learn, to meet people with a similar mindset and care about the similar areas, and to change their mindset from an idle observer to how can I be part of a solution, and providing them with some of the support that they need to start being productive. So I would say that is the first and clearest impact that we got. And it's apparent to me from the tens, maybe even hundreds of messages that I've received, that many of which have left me in tears about the change on the individual lives that these people have experienced. The second effect, I think, is more kind of the direct, what people expect out of this is what solutions have come out of this and when will they be implemented? And the answer to that, there's 73 teams that were formed during this hackathon. And these 73 teams worked on 73 ideas and 73 solutions to 73 problems. And, it's not realistic to expect all 73 to be implemented. And I think it's too soon to tell what percentage of these are actually going to be implemented. But these 73 ideas, out of which 45 wanted to continue working on their ideas, out of which 35 applied to our accelerator, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit more, our pre-accelerator, just to be correct in the terminology. And then we accepted 25, again, for capacity reasons. So there are 25 teams right now with about 150 people in them working towards implementing 25 solutions that came out of this hackathon. And they're in different stages. And reality is it's too soon to say which of them will get actually implemented and which won't. But even those that don't get implemented, there is value in the conversation. There is value in the energy and the effort, and there's value for those individuals that are going through the process. And the last element I'm going to add is even softer than the first one. The last piece of impact that I'm going to mention is there is a sentimental element that came out of this, an element of, false or not, an element of hope, element of excitement, of energy, of let us do something. Let us, start looking at issues and trying to act on. Let us get together, ask people, getting people from Germany who are Lebanese, who know something about AI, to talk with the team in Lebanon and collaborate on these things. We've created this platform for people to engage and collaborate and move forward. This is by no means a solution, right? This is just the tip of the iceberg, and hopefully it's one in many initiatives that get the ball rolling in a positive direction, and hopefully we see something on the other side. That's a long-winded answer, but that's the best answer I can give right now.
I was going to tell you about the hope factor because I was going to ask you about it specifically, because that was something I personally felt, that it gave us hope. It gave us something, it gave us possibly a way, something to look for in the future, something to maybe touch, something to see. I was a mentor in this challenge. And when I jumped from one mentorship to another group, and then when you see all of these people, they are eagerly working, trying to solve solutions. Maybe some of them, they will die as solutions perspective. But that doesn't matter. They're trying to, give that spin of energy into this and then try to make it a success story. Overall, it is a success story. We'll talk about the challenges definitely later on. So now we're into the pre-accelerator. And were you actually thinking of pre-accelerator and possibly accelerator program at the beginning of?
No, definitely not. To be honest, this whole thing kind of ballooned very quickly.
Organic.
Very organic. When we started, it was maybe 10, 15 people will get together. We'll put together a small hackathon, maybe 200, maybe 300 people. And then like, you know what, maybe 4. And then, you know what, maybe 6. So it's been growing slowly. And the reality is, we started thinking about, okay, what will these teams do? We have 73 teams. And I sat down with we have a team that was just thinking about what's going to happen after the hackathon. And I sat down with them and we were discussing, okay, what are these 73 teams going to do the day after the hackathon ends? And one piece of advice we got from a team at MIT was, you need to get the teams engaged in something within 7 days after the hackathon ends. Otherwise, all this momentum that you've built up over the hackathon is going to die. And very few ideas are going to continue. And we're like, okay, so we need to partner with someone in Lebanon who can take on some of those teams and move forward with them. And what we've learned is that the informal system right now is weak, given the environment that is there. And the formal system right now as well has shrunk with the current crisis. So on one side, the formal system has shrunk, and on the other side, these teams are not yet ready to go and speak with the Speed and the Flat Six Labs. They're after 1 week of work, 1 weekend of work, they're not even ready. So we decided as a team that they need more support, and they've worked so hard for these ideas on the weekend, and the ideas are going to die if we don't figure out a way to help them. So about 10 days before the hackathon started, we decided, okay, let's build a pre-accelerator for those teams. So while we were scrambling to put together the hackathon, we started scrambling to put together the pre-accelerator. And again, the Martin Trust Center at MIT shared a lot of material with us and a lot of guidance on this. We've also worked with a lot of our partners, like Speed, like BDD, like Impact Lebanon, and others who provided a lot of guidance and support on designing the accelerator, the pre-accelerator program, but also on delivering it. For example, Saib Nahas from Phoenician Funds is right now delivering a workshop on fundraising for our teams. And a lot of our partners delivered similar workshops on different topics throughout. So no, we did not plan this. We decided to do this last minute because we felt like it will add the most value to the teams, and we felt that they need it, to be very honest.
Yep. So what's next now?
What's next now is, it's a good question. We talked about this earlier. So the accelerator is 4 weeks long. The pre-accelerator is 4 weeks long. We are in week 4 right now. And this Saturday, the teams are going to have a mock board meeting to simulate a real board meeting. And I know, Rudy, you're on the board of one of the teams, on the mock board of one of the teams. And this will be the first time where these teams go out and get criticized really aggressively by the real world. So this is the first flavor kind of the real world, where everything they've been working on, their babies, are going to get a real test. That's step 1. Step 2 for these teams is August 8th, where we're going to have a demo day, where each of these teams is going to pitch to the world and to a room of a curated audience of people who are interested in this space. They're going to pitch their ideas, and they're going to explain to the world what problem they're trying to solve, how are they solving it, and why they're the right team to take this forward. And frankly, from there on, they're more or less on their own. They will always have access to us, the accelerator team and the hackathon team, and to our networks. They will always have access to the 100 plus mentors that are on our platform, on our Slack channel, you included, and they will. But at this point, they're more as adults, kind of graduated from high school, and now they're in the real world, and it's up to them to figure out a way to convince people to join their team, to convince customers to buy their solutions, to convince suppliers to sell them, and to convince investors where needed to invest in them. And this is, if you like, the journey will begin for this batch of 24, and they will go on, and we'll see where they get, and we'll be rooting for them from the sidelines. As for, sorry,
yeah,
yes,
please go ahead.
I just wanted to say, in parallel, we are thinking about, this Lebanon challenge was one event. What does the Lebanon challenge look like in the future, and which team will be the one that takes it forward? And I can talk a bit more about that either now or later. I'll leave it up to you.
No, continue.
So in terms of our team, there's a lot of us have put aside a lot of our personal lives and work lives for the last 7 or 8 weeks to deliver this. So we're all falling behind on a lot of commitments. So we're going to take a month just to catch up. I'm starting a job soon and all that. And but we're all committed, or at least a subset of us is committed to figuring out a way to make this live on after us. And we're thinking about the right format to make this happen. But what will happen is there's going to be multiple hackathons moving forward in a given year. We're deciding between 2 or 3 a year. We're also working on a way to run the accelerator as well, 2 or 3 times a year. And moving forward, the topics are going to be, a bit more focused. This was first, we dabbled with everything. Moving forward, the different hackathons are going to be focused on different areas where we think there is a larger need. We're going to be working with partners internationally. We're thinking about identifying partners in North America, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, and in South America, and in Africa, in a way where we can connect with the Lebanese diaspora all over the world through these events and through these partners, and bring them closer to the Lebanese people. And the goal has been, and the goal will always continue to be, economic development in Lebanon, social entrepreneurship, identifying opportunities and creating jobs in the country by serving, either an unmet need in Lebanon or an unmet need abroad. And that's something that is going to be definitely in the works for the next 2 or 3 months, figuring all of that out.
Great. Well, I want to talk about the challenges faced during this, the preparation part, especially more on the execution part, especially on the Lebanon challenge, and definitely what's happening now. Tell me more.
Sure. So challenge number 1, let's start with the preparation part. Challenge number 1, 51 people, never met before, doing something none of us have ever, none of us have built a hackathon at this scale before, and spread out across a 13-hour time zone gap between the earliest and the latest person. So we first tried to get a meeting, and only half of the people show up. We share the recording, not everyone sees it. And so very quickly we got into the point where there's no alignment, and the teams are moving in different directions, and different people have different levels of awareness of what's going on and different goalposts at the end. And so this was definitely the biggest challenge early on, of how do we communicate with everyone? How do we get everyone's opinion? How do we, in this virtual world, especially when most people in this organizing team, the vast majority, have full-time jobs and are committed 8 to 12 hours a day, 5 days a week on other topics. And very quickly we realized that, okay, we need to break down these groups into smaller groups who are interested in certain topics. We identified, gaps in skill sets within those groups, and then I had to go out and recruit individuals to fill in these gaps. So it's like running a company. It was very much like running a 50-person company. And then we shifted from meeting format, so we dropped meetings almost completely, and we went to a memo format. So the small groups meet with themselves. I meet with every one of these small groups individually, but we don't have a meeting where we all get together. Every Wednesday, I was drafting a 2 to 3 page note explaining to everyone on the team what everyone else is doing, explaining to everyone on the team what the priority for this week is, what are the goals for every team, and what coordination needs to take place. And I was available. Everyone had access to my calendar, and I was available pretty much doing one-on-ones with different people on the team, probably 2 or 3 hours every day, just one-on-ones over the course of the 5 weeks. So that was the first challenge, and that was how we overcame it. The second challenge in terms of organizing is because of how we set up the event, and because we were doing it, in the format that we did it, we didn't have a legal structure or a bank account to accept any funding. So we were not allowed to get $1 from any sponsor, and we're happy we did it that way. But at the time, that posed challenges because we needed to get Slack, for example, right? Slack, in order the version of Slack that can accommodate 1,000 people on it, which is what we have, is the Slack, standard or the Slack Pro, which costs a few $1,000s, and we don't have the money, and we legally cannot get the money. So, a little bit of luck and a little bit of creativity. We messaged Slack, we explained the event that we were doing, and we asked for a free version for 3 months. And Slack, remarkably sent a message saying, "Good luck. Here is a 3-month free trial. Here you go. Good luck with what you're doing. You're doing something great." And that's great on their part. That's fantastic. And so that luckily played out. Same for Zoom. MIT gave us the right to use their Zoom accounts, the Martin Trust Center, for the webinar that hosted the 700 participants in the kickoff. And the other is, people management. Again, all the challenges that you get when you're running a team and running a company. You have 50 personalities, people from all ages, different backgrounds. We have designers and marketing folks. We had people who are data engineers and data scientists. We had people who have a background in a PhD in electrical engineering. We have MBAs, and getting all these people to get together and work together where no one has a formal authority. Even I was running the whole show, but I didn't have formal authority over anyone. Anyone can pack up and leave at any given point in time. The only reason we were all in that room working on all of this is because we all want to contribute somehow, and we all believe this is a valuable way to contribute. And so that was definitely a challenge, and figuring out a way to orchestrate everyone and keep everyone working together smoothly required a lot of people management and sitting people down and having open conversations and understanding where everyone comes from and taking those forward. So that was during the preparation phase, which is where I would say we had most of the challenges. We also thought about literally everything that can go wrong during the weekend, and we planned for that. So the weekend itself, during the execution, and I think, Rudy, you definitely have a perspective of that because you were there for all of it. But from my perspective, I saw things go a lot smoother than I thought they were going to be. So we did not really have a lot of challenges, I would say. One challenge was time zones. Again,
it was expected and it's normal, exactly.
Right. The people in Beirut had to stay up until 1 a.m. forming teams on Friday night. And some people went to sleep before they formed their teams. So that was, and then the next morning we had to struggle to find a team for them, and there were some stragglers there, but that was expected. We had some issues with Zoom and people dropping because of internet connections, but we mitigated those by asking teams to identify the people on their team who have the quickest internet to present. We also had a backup plan where we asked each team to have 2 presenters in case one when someone's internet drops, the second person picks up. And the backup is that if a team expected that their internet is going to be bad, they could send us scripts for their presentation, and we will have someone from our team who is based in the US with good internet connection can recite their pitch for them. Luckily, we didn't have to do that for anyone. But yeah, so those are the challenges that I would say, minor, but those are the challenges that I would say that we faced. I'm curious to hear, what did you see from your side as on the mentor side of things?
Well, it was on this format, it's fully online. So trying to really do this online, it was a challenge for me. I'm a tech guru, but you still have to, you're talking to a camera, you're talking to a team, the times, it was all right for me. But even Slack, okay, I had some Slack experience, but now I really had to immerse into Slack to really try, how things go. The format of how things went into Slack was somehow organized, but a little bit confusing. I know it's a format that is adopted by the MIT hackathons previously, I think. But otherwise, it was okay. And mostly, all of these young students, and they have technology expertise, and I think it was smooth to happen.
Yeah, I think it was as smooth as it could have gone with 800 people doing something for the first time on tools that many of them have never used before.
True.
But absolutely, like we had Zapier, the integration tool that told the mentors about the requests that the teams had, and that broke a couple of times. And we had someone from our team rushing every time to try and fix it and trying to figure out why it broke. So there were a few hiccups here and there, but all in all, I think it went.
All in all, it was okay. Yeah, I remember the automation part, but it's okay. It happens. And this brings me to my question: is we can do miracles, I think, with limited resources, but with a big heart. What do you say about that?
I definitely agree, and there are a lot of teams around the world, like the Kene and From the Villages. I don't know if you've heard about these initiatives, but the Kene is an online store based out of London. They're selling Lebanese products to expats, and a lot of the money that comes from that gets donated. And they've done that with zero budget. They managed to find the right people to have spare time, to help them with legal stuff, to help them with setting up the website, to help them with hiring a photographer for free to take pictures of the merchandise. And that's exactly what you said. That's the big heart that resulted in the outcome. But I think the big heart can only take you so far. There's a level once you get to, especially for some of the harder problems that need physical goods and building things, you'll need a bit more than that. But the big heart takes you very far way across.
Sure. I have a comment from Jean, which says the Bene Frères might be interested in helping the development of a project related to agriculture. I don't know if you know the Bene group, or I think they're a big group in Lebanon. So he'd like to develop the idea privately with his COO, and I need to stay in touch with you and Jad later on, of course. I'll try to connect you, Jean, and Jad later on, and then we'll coordinate that. And if anybody has any question, please do raise your hand or put them in the chat so we can take more interactions of this. So now, big heart. Wait, more comments. Thank you, Jean. So now, big hearts, big mission, accomplishments. I'm not gonna say what's next. What's happening this week?
What's happening this week?
This weekend, yes.
So this
we
weekend,
talked about the board and everything. So
I'll recap a bit about the board. This weekend is like this is a very, very, we're asking the teams to do so much in this 1 month because time is not on their favor. Time is not on their side. every month they spend working on their idea is a month that they spend not doing something else. Right now, they're not generating any income for themselves and for their families. And they're working on this. And where they need to get to very, very quickly is get to the point where they have an understanding of, with a high level of conviction, is this going to work or not? And that's what we're pushing them to get to. And when they land on an answer with very strong conviction that is, yes, I think this will work, then they will need to go out and start, doing what needs to be done in terms of recruiting people and maybe raising money to actually make this happen. And on that journey, major milestone, as Rudy said, is this weekend. And this weekend they have a board meeting, a mock board meeting. So as I mentioned earlier, we've identified 3 to 5 people that are focused on the space, the industries that each of these teams are working on. So we have 25 teams, and we've identified about 90 individuals who have 10 plus years of experience, who are experts in their field, to be on the mock board of directors for those teams. These teams will present the problem they're working on, the solution that they've developed, and what all the decisions that they've done so far. So who is the customer? How are they going to reach the customer? What kind of product are they going to build? How are they going to build it? How much is it going to cost? How much money are they going to make out of this? What does the financial projections look like? What sort of teams do they need? It's all that and so much more. And they're going to present that to their board. They're going to receive the feedback, the honest and direct feedback from the board, saying you're on the right track, but think about these things, or you're almost there, but you need to adjust here and that, or this doesn't make sense because of X, Y, and Z reasons. You need to go back to the drawing board and think about things. So that's step one. And while they're doing that, we're also working very hard with them to stress test their ideas. Do these ideas have a ground to stand on? And how can you adjust the ideas to adapt to what the market really needs? And that's this weekend. And also for this weekend, these teams need to prepare for next week, for their first major public unveiling, where they're going to have a 5-minute pitch, which is going to be live streamed and broadcasted and shared with potential investors. Because as we said, Rudy, heart only takes you so far. And these teams right now are running on heart. And they're going to have to continue running on heart, but they're going to need something more than that. And we are doing our best to connect them with individuals who are open to listening to their ideas. And if they believe in the team, and if they believe that this idea is valuable, setting up conversations with them later on, and hopefully these conversations develop into funding, partnership, investing, donating, supplying something, because these teams are going to need quite a bit more than heart to get to where they need to go.
So you're setting up for them some VCs now and possibly some investments, possibly depending, of course, on the success.
Right. So the big question of angel versus VC, I think a lot of these teams right now are at the stage where they're ready to raise money from friends, family, and maybe angel investors. Most of them are not at a stage where they can sit in front of a VC yet. And also, most of them are building business models that are more SME type and not VC backable businesses. So that being said, in the audience, we're going to have VCs, angel investors, and also non-experienced angel investors. People who might have $5,000 stuck in the bank in Lebanon. They are not sure what to do with it, and they've either written that off, and they believe in one of those teams, and they say, okay, I'm going to invest this $5,000 with this one team, which can help this team go a long way and live for a few months longer and continue working on their idea and hopefully get somewhere. We're also inviting, the entrepreneurial support system in the country, the other accelerators, the other incubators, to this demo day event, so they can attend and listen to these pitches and decide if any of these teams make sense for them to join their programs.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of initiatives that are NGO oriented even, and technically they're doing it to help the society at large. And
Yeah.
I love these initiatives, and hopefully, many of them succeed and have a successful story. I shared Jad Ojjeh LinkedIn. And Jad, where can they see, or can they actually see the final presentations? Will they be broadcasted live or YouTube or Zoom? Because I think they are Zoom oriented, but then.
Right. The presentations will be shared on YouTube. Okay. We still haven't made the decision whether it's going to be live broadcasted or shared after the fact, but they will be on YouTube by August 12 or so. They will, at the latest, they will be online.
Okay, great. And then I'll keep that also in mind to share. Are you thinking of incorporating your idea?
So we're thinking of setting up a formal entity for Lebanon Challenge, yes.
I'm just going to stop you. I'm just going to stop you because you said you're starting a job. So are you into, now choosing of continuing to take that job, or?
The reality is, if it was up to me, I would love to do this. I would love to only do this and do this full time. But after graduating from an MBA at MIT, I have a large debt sitting on top of me. And, even if I can find a way to finance this debt through this kind of work, it won't be the most effective way to spend that money. So I'm a high overhead cost on this kind of initiative. So for now, my involvement in this initiative is going to be part-time, is going to be on the side. I need to take care of some personal things with my full-time job, and I'll be doing this on the side. And for now, it's going to be mostly for a volunteer-based initiative. So a lot of the people who are organizing, this event do full-time jobs, and they have full-time jobs in Europe and in the US and in Africa and in a lot of different places. And we're all going to keep our jobs and continue doing this on the side. And maybe one day we get to the point where we can invest more of our times towards this. I hope so. But for now, that's not on the horizon.
Maybe I have a small, idea to think about. Maybe transfer it into NGO perspective for certain types of, and then continue on it on an NGO perspective. And then, because, we all need money to continue, of course. But for this initiative, to be able to support itself, and then possibly get also capital based on that. But if you cannot incorporate or you keep it as an initiative without financing, I think the big heart sometimes.
Yeah, the plan is to set up a nonprofit, set it up as a nonprofit, set up a system where we have kind of a team working on institutionalizing this event and keeping it sustainable in a way where, managing partnerships and designing the curriculums and doing all those more high level activities, and then recruiting a volunteer team for every hackathon to do most of the, the heart work, if I can say that. And so I'm very confident that we will find a lot of people, a lot of qualified people who want to be engaged and who want to be a part of this. And so I don't foresee any challenges in delivering version 2, version 3, version 5 of this event purely on a volunteer basis.
That's great news. And hopefully you'll have a version, not just 10 and 20. It will be much more, because it has a big value. And it brought, again, hope you cannot measure it. It's not financial. For that, I'm going to start concluding today. And I want to thank you, Jad.
Rudy, can I interrupt you? Sorry, if I may. Do you mind if I interrupt you and just say one last thing?
Sure.
It's more of a call to action, which is, I have never done this before. I have never, frankly, honestly, I've never worked on anything for anyone other than me before. It was my whole life has been focused on my career. And one day I decided I want to try to build this, and I really wanted to. So I really devoted a lot of time and energy towards it. And I asked for help, and everyone out there just gave me a lot of help. And so my call to action is, if there is a way that you can think of, doing something that helps Lebanon, that helps your community, your town, your village, your city, but you're not sure where to start, my advice to you is just do it. Just say you want to do it, tell everyone that you're going to do it, and go out there and do it, and ask for help. Because really, come to me, I'll be more than happy to help. And you'll be surprised how everyone's going to jump on that. So don't think about it too much, just jump in and it will work. That's my advice.
I wanted to tell you what's your last word. I think this is exactly what I wanted to hear. I just want to see from the audience if anybody wants to say or ask a question before we conclude. Anybody raising hands? Open the microphone. Any volunteers? Nadir, thanks a lot for the promising discussion. Okay, Muhammad, please go ahead.
Frankly speaking, I've been watching those whole discussions since I received the very first invitation. I'm an old guy. I'm 58 years old now, and I'm full professor at the university, but I have my business, digital transformation. And I already mentioned in 1991, I received my artificial intelligence PhD. Now I feel so much hopeful when I see you guys with all of your expertise and you have that devotion to Lebanon. I'm so proud of you. Being a mayor one day, I know how much it's difficult really to have somebody working for free, working out of goodwill for our country. Mashallah alaykum, I'm really proud of you all.
Thank you, Mr. Nadil. And I just want to add to what you said, and you said you've been as a mayor, and I think it's absolutely necessary being a mayor and being in politics, especially today, is to have this value in our hearts, because I think we lost a lot lately in the last years, and hopefully this will be and give us some hope and regeneration to our new generation, because we need it. Muhammad, please go ahead. Muhammad Kanj. Muhammad, can you hear me? Hey, Muhammad, تفضل.
Okay.
بس علي صوتك.
Thank you very much, Rudy, for the sessions.
بس علي صوتك نجزي.
Well, thank you very much for the sessions. You are showing us the positive sign of Lebanon. Okay, we have been always Lebanon إنه في مشاكل, في problems, وفي بس keep it up يعني. This is very, very interesting. And thank you for your guest.
Thank you, Muhammad. For this session, I'll really thank Jad, because he's been a beacon in this initiative that he did. And I'll give all the credit to him today for being with me, and thank you for accepting again. I'm trying my part. As long I've been into this series for the last now 5 months, and I need a break also. So this will be my last session before I take a break for month of August, and then I'll be back hopefully mid of September in season 2. So again, thank you guys. Jad, if you have any extra last word to the audience, and otherwise we'll conclude.
I just want to say thank you, Rudy, and thank you for everyone here for your kind words. And a massive thank you to the 50 other people on the organizing team who have been working very hard and tirelessly behind the scenes and a lot of whom is like their names isn't even showing up on everywhere. And 50 people, it's a lot to list everyone, but they really are the ones who made it all happen. And I was just happened to be fortunate enough to stumble upon 50 people who are outstanding and were able to pull this off in 5 weeks.
Thank you again, Jad, and thank you again, guys. See you soon, and stay safe, and be foolish but stay safe. Enjoy your summer.